The tragic flight Japan Airlines 123. The sun was beginning to set over Tokyo on August 12, 1985, as Japan Airlines Flight 123 prepared for takeoff from Haneda Airport. The massive Boeing 747 SR was packed with 524 passengers and crew, many heading home to Osaka or visiting family for the Obon holiday. Among them were businessmen, families, and even celebrities, completely unaware that they were about to be part of the worst single aircraft disaster in history. At 6:12 p.m., the aircraft roared down the runway and lifted into the sky. Everything seemed normal. Passengers settled in, flight attendants moved through the aisles, and the pilots followed their routine procedures. But just 12 minutes later, disaster struck. A loud explosion rocked the aircraft. The rear pressure bulkhead had failed, a hidden flaw from a poorly repaired tailstrike accident 7 years earlier. The force of the rupture blew off the entire tail section, taking with it the plane's vertical stabilizer and all hydraulic systems. Without hydraulics, the pilots lost almost all control of the aircraft. Inside the cabin, panic spread. The oxygen masks dropped, but they provided little comfort as the aircraft wildly pitched up and down, rolling left and right. Passengers clutched their loved ones, some crying, others whispering prayers. In the cockpit, Captain Masami Takahama and his crew fought desperately to regain control. They tried everything, using engine thrust to steer, attempting emergency radio calls, but the crippled aircraft was barely responding. With no stabilizer and no hydraulics, it became a terrifying game of survival. For the next 32 minutes, the plane drifted aimlessly over Japan, looping in a tragic, uncontrollable flight path. The crew attempted to make an emergency landing, but without control, it was impossible. At 6:56 p.m., the inevitable happened. The aircraft clipped a ridge of Mount Takamagahara, breaking apart and crashing into the mountainside. The explosion sent fire and debris across the dense forest. The aftermath. When rescue teams finally reached the site the next morning, they were met with a scene of utter devastation, burning wreckage, scattered belongings, and an eerie silence. 520 lives had been lost, but miraculously, 4 passengers survived, including a young girl found trapped under debris. The world was stunned by the tragedy. Investigations later revealed that faulty repairs done by Boeing in 1978 had led to the pressure bulkhead failure. If it had been fixed properly, the crash would never have happened. Flight 123 became a haunting reminder of the cost of negligence in aviation. But in its tragedy, it also highlighted the incredible bravery of the pilots, who fought to the very last second to save their passengers, and the resilience of the survivors, who lived to tell their story. And so, Japan Airlines Flight 123 remains etched in history, not just as a disaster but as a lesson that still shapes aviation safety today.